Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
I do enjoy, though, seeing Brady post-Belichick, not football, but just personality-wise. I mean, the Tommy Gronke videos that they're doing, even though he's dead serious and getting this team focused on another Super Bowl, and it appears that they are lockstep. They're having fun with videos. I don't know if you saw Brady's, each week he's now, as you know, for a couple of years, he's been doing these hype videos on his social media. I don't know if you saw the one prior to the Falcons.
Yeah, they're impeccable, dude.
Well, the one prior to the Falcons, he did it in front of a screensaver, in front of a computer that the timestamp on it was 3:28. Because he's taken on the Falcons and the score was 28-3.
Yeah, he's got like all these Easter eggs and stuff for people to find, which goes to show you, Tom's creative.
I can recall a time, Chris, when you thought that all he wanted to do was surpass Michael Jordan and get to 7, and that would be it. He got to 7. And that's not it. I think if he gets to 8 this year, that's still not it. And if he somehow gets to 9 next year, that's still not it. What is driving Tom Brady at this point?
Well, I guess the first thing I would say is yeah, I did. I always thought it would be 7, hey, I'm out of here. But I thought maybe he would win 7, not looking like the Tom Brady we're accustomed to. But the crazy thing is, and we've said this a few times over the last month, I swear, he throws the ball better now than he did in 2013 and 2012. So he probably looks at it wait, I'm on a great team, sees the opportunity here, and I still feel really capable of being a big-time playmaker in the NFL. That's where it's just so rare. Usually people like this with Tom Brady and this type of status and the resume he has, they're kind of limping their way off the battlefield and just making it happen. Brady right now is still thriving. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. He still has an arm that you can do special things with throughout in your game plan. And I don't, Mike, that's to me the most interesting thing is just there hasn't been much drop-off, if any, over the last few years, and I think he's one of those guys that's what else am I going to do? I like my kids and all that, but damn, this is fun playing football, and it's not a real job. So that's why I think, he's hanging around, and I don't think the end is coming anytime soon like you're talking about, man.
It's definitely a real job and then some to keep his body ready to get to the point where he is not just limping to the finish line, but he is sprinting toward a finish line that no one knows where it is.
I actually think there's an interesting thread that people are missing this year, which is Tom's brilliance when it comes to setting the tone, setting the temperature in a locker room after a Super Bowl run like that had to be exhausting, with all things considered and the pandemic and all that. This is even tougher to rebound from an effort like that. So Tom Brady being able to get this team back into kind of tip-top shape, focused, energized, playing good out of the gate, that's New England stuff. That's Bill Belichick stuff. So I thought this year the true test for Tom as a leader, which is almost a bit unfair, but he's played himself and led himself into this echelon of people that we can talk about this way. This is the mark of the GOAT. As much as anything, how you get a team to rebound after a Super Bowl effort and play like that Super Bowl team out of the gate. That rarely happens, and we know that. So that's a check mark in Tom's column. When you talk about him and Bill, he's at least part of why they were perpetually good at that in New England.
No, there's no question about that. There is no doubt that it's woven in his DNA, and that's what made the Brady-Belichick relationship work for as long as it did.
It's not win in one, Rich. It's win in, as many as they won there. And doing them sometimes, early on, clustered together, and then, later that long break, but still being able to, after disappointing runs that might end in the end of the AFC Championship or in the Super Bowl, they were able to pick themselves off the mat and play good football immediately the next year. It's hard to stay that way. I've been on, teams that were that way and then, fell off.
But Brady now is getting into a weird space. Weird being fascinating, where he's the 9th wonder of the world. And I was thinking about this. There's a stat with Tom Brady that's fascinating. Tom Brady, if you count his regular seasons and his postseason passing touchdowns in his 20s, had 167. He's going to surpass that in his 40s very soon, this year, probably by Thanksgiving. Now, I want you to think about that. That's weird. Between his international wife, his international commercials, his bizarre longevity, LeBron spends millions a year on his body. LeBron is 36, and he's starting to fall apart a little bit. Serena Williams, 39. 39, not the player she was 2 years ago. Same with Federer, 40. Messi is 34 years old, past his peak, past his prime. Still great past his prime. Ronaldo, 36. He's just cashing checks now. It's not, I mean, he's basically cashing checks. Tom Brady is 44. In the most violent sport of all these. And his release times are faster. He wins more. He wins easier. If you go look at Brady's last 10 games, because remember, he didn't have a preseason, the pandemic. I don't think it's fair to look at the first half of last year. In his last 10 games, 31 touchdowns, 6 picks, 113 passer rating, 304 yards a game, 10-0. And has beaten Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Breeze last year in a playoff run. He's becoming the ninth wonder of the world. At 44, I watched him this week. And I watched him in week 1. And my takeaway is he better than he was like 7 years ago? I mean, think about this. His biggest obstacle now isn't his opposition. It's his wife. Whether or not Gisele's going to say, Tommy, pack it in. I've sacrificed a lot for the family. Tommy, pack it in. I mean, that's what we think, right? She's going to at some point say, we got the money. Let's spend the rest of our lives together. Belichick, to show you how fascinating Brady is, Belichick drafted Tommy's replacement 7 years ago. The number 1 pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence, is less than half his age. Like, Tom Brady's doesn't make any sense anymore. None of it makes sense. He's the first NFL guy in my life. And I'm not saying he's as big. You know, Ronaldo's got a zillion Instagram followers, whatever that means. You know, I don't even know if Brad Pitt's on Instagram. But the point is, I'm not trying to make an argument he's the world's biggest superstar in sports. But he's the first NFL guy in my life. Between the international wife, the international commercials, his unfathomable longevity, and his championships, I think he's the first global football player. He's going to throw more touchdowns in his 40s than his 20s. Can you imagine if I said, yeah, Messi, he's way better at 44 than he was at 29? What? I mean, I remember Michael Jordan in his mid-30s. He wasn't the same player. A lot of it was fall away. And that's Michael Jordan. LeBron, 36. He doesn't get tackled. LeBron at 36 starting to get hurt all the time. He's moved into a very, very unique international territory.
And that's what I think big picture needs to be regarded as the most amazing aspect of it. Yeah. We have been watching and waiting for years now for the decline to arrive. And as you said, as it relates to his throwing, the decline isn't there. If anything, he's getting better. And he said himself recently to have that sleeve off of his left knee after 13 years of wearing it, got the MCL repaired. It's not like he's going to be sprinting around all over the place, but he's got a greater freedom, at least in his mind. He's going to be more comfortable as he hops and jumps around in the pocket.
They call him the GOAT for a reason. I think Trey Boston said that like 3 times today. And you know what? He's earned it. Tom Brady, most fourth-quarter comebacks in the postseason. Joe Montana, 3 behind him. Terry Bradshaw, Elway, Eli, and Russell Wilson are 4 behind.
And if taking that sleeve off of his knee, if getting that MCL repaired allows him to not put himself in that spot, then he really doesn't have any weaknesses.
No, yeah, I mean, you know, hey, first off, we saw what, like 2019, we thought, oh, maybe, you know, this is the downfall of Brady, right, in New England. They had that underwhelming offensive year. As we've seen, just like a lot of quarterbacks who maybe people don't realize how good they are until they get some talent around them, yeah, he got here in Tampa Bay, and they got the right formula around him to where, you know, again, he could show us the areas that he's really special in. And we know he's really special in being clutch, making decisions. And again, Mike, I will always argue this. This is one of the greatest throwers in the history of football. Yeah, it's not Brett Favre or Dan Marino lasers, but he's that next group down. He could still throw at 70-plus yards in the air. They're not calling an offense to manage like, well, Brady can't make this throw. Their only issue is exactly what you said, Mike. Protect the guy. When he's protected, he can still carve you up. And I think, you talk about the knee sleeve and the healthiness there. The formula they found at the end of last year where let's protect him, run the ball, and when we got one-on-one matchups, he'll throw strikes.
So we are going to take a little look at what Tom Brady does, maybe better than anybody in the history of the game. And it's using his eyes to manipulate defenders. He is so good at this.
Can't watch where Brady's looking. That's the trick. I think that's what you come away after games, and if you play zone coverage, just don't look where he's looking because the ball's probably not going there. So this is a staple of in-game play. There's under a minute left in this game. The Houston Texans are winning this football game. They're going to play a version of cover 2, and what's going to happen, and we've all run this if we've been in this late situation, is you try and put a guy down the middle, and you try and put a guy up the sideline, and you're trying to affect this safety. If he gets outside of the numbers here, you can't really throw the ball I'm about to show you. But what Brady does a great job of, as we roll this, he's going to pump fake and use his eyes to hold this safety. Little pump fake. Now, you have kept this safety in a position where you still have, albeit a very small chance, to throw this football in this honey hole, we call it. Now, the only problem is, and what makes Tom Brady so great, he's got pressure in his face. So that's why this throw is kind of off the charts for me. You got basically a defensive lineman in your armpit as you let this ball go. And this ball can only be thrown right where it was thrown for Brandon Cooks to get his feet down. I mean, this is a tremendous play. The defense knew it was coming and still wasn't able to stop it. Now, this is from the other night. It's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18. The Patriots hadn't converted a 3rd and 15 plus all year, Dan. Not one time. But this guy makes more clutch throws and clutch reads when he has to make them than anybody I've ever seen. So what you're going to get from the Jacksonville Jaguars is a version of cover 4. Okay, this safety's a little bit high. I want you to focus in on one guy. This guy right here. His responsibility for Myles Jack is to play right there in the middle of the field. Don't let anyone beat you in the middle of the field. Just play nice and easy. You got 2 safeties over behind you to protect you from any deep balls. But what does he do? Tom moves to his left, and now his eyes go left. Where's Myles Jack go? He goes left. And he's still not done. He's going to take another hitch step and a small little glance to make him think he's throwing the ball right here. But you got help here. You got a flat defender. We don't even have to cover this. It's 3rd and 18. Myles Jack gets out of position. Brady makes the throw of the year, probably. A huge first down right across the middle. And then he gives you that look. Like you shouldn't have got out of position. Don't watch that man's eyes. Don't watch where he's looking, especially in clutch situations.
When you see Brady doing what he's doing right now, 9 touchdowns, and Gronk getting 4 of them. I mean, it's insane. It really, I don't, there's really no words for it, but I do want to put it in your lap here. Somebody who's played with him and knows what it takes to prepare for an NFL season physically, mentally, and the fact he's 44 and doing this, it does not compute, Chris.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think, and the scary thing is the Bucs are kind of, because they played in that spot with Atlanta sandwiched in between like so many good games that were objectively like interesting and compelling. Like I don't think a lot of people watched them last week other than like Red Zone. So, no offense to Tampa fans. I mean, they've kind of gotten pretty quickly into this boring good mode.
I don't know if he needs anything more to solidify his greatness and being the GOAT and the greatest player in the history of the sport or quarterback. I don't know if it really would matter. It'd be. I'm sure he's the type of guy that, again, like we've heard Mahomes say, they expect to win every game. He's not going to get too far ahead of himself and think about, we might be 10-0 in week 11 and wow, we could have a chance. But I do. I think everything drives the guy. That's why he's so special. I mean, he's competing with himself as far as many calories he's eaten during the day. I mean, he is that perfect type of psycho that you need to be a franchise quarterback. And I say that respectfully. Even if he went 20-0, Mike, and he plays good football, I don't think he's like, my opinions change. I don't think he's walking off into the sunset.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be like, wait, I'm still good. Why do I got to quit? This is fun. My family's enjoying it, other than Giselle trying to talk me out of it after every time I win the Super Bowl. But everything else is really positives, and I just don't imagine that happening.
What more do you have to prove? The question she posed to him after he won Super Bowl number 7. And more. The answer is more. What more do you want? I want it all. I want everything.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day. Thanks for watching.